On deck today for review, guys, we got an oldie but a goodie. It is the full-size H&K USP 9mm. This is the variant 3 with the decocker only and no safety, but we'll get into that more in a minute. This gun's been around a long time. It's known for its durability and reliability, which, in my opinion, it absolutely excels in. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do some firing here from the 12-meter line like usual. Hopefully, make some steel ring. After that, we're going to do a tabletop review where I break the gun down, talk about some of the pros and cons of it, put it back together, and then we'll do a chronograph test with some popular defensive loads that have grown leaps and bounds basically since this gun's come out. But right now, let's step over the 12-meter line and see if we can make some steel ring. Alright guys, there you have it, the full-size H&K USP. Time for the tabletop review here for the H&K USP full-size. As always, we like to break the gun down first and show you how that works. In order to do that, there's a little button here on the slide release, and you line that up with this little notch here in the slide and push across. And pull it out. Barrel, correction, the slide assembly comes off, recoil spring comes out. Barrel comes out, and that's your field strip pistol. It's pretty simple. We'll put it back together here and try to get into some of the standard talking points for a gun we're talking about it. The history of the USP is it was designed for the U.S. market by H&K. Back in the early 90s, there was some military trials going on for a new replacement of the service pistol, as many of you guys know about. Obviously, that never came into fruition, but this is one of the guns created for that, though. But this gun has gained a reputation for extreme reliability, and I've found that to be the case so far. I've never experienced a malfunction with it, and it's got a lot of rounds through it. A few of the features about it: it's got a polygonal bore. So those of you guys that like to shoot a lot of lead reloads, it's something to think about. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means if you do, you got to be real careful about cleaning and so on and so forth. But that polygonal rifling does give you a little extra velocity out of this already long, relatively long full-size barrel, so it's a good thing in my opinion. The slide is one piece of nitrocarburized steel. The finish here is something that H&K calls a, what do they call it? What's the term they use? They use I believe it's called a hostile environment finish. So, but it's nitriting, similar to what SIG, Glock, etc. do. It's a hardening process on the surface to help protect that steel. Couple things, it's got a bunch of different trigger systems on here like I talked about earlier. This one's the variant 3, meaning that the first shot is fired in double action. Subsequent shots go back, take the magazine out, and they'll fire it in single action. It's got a similar safety to the SIG and internal safety, so that way when the trigger is held to the rear, the hammer can go all the way and strike the firing pin, but when it's not, it's locked and won't go forward. So it's the safety that the gun has on it, comes standard, so the gun won't fire when you don't want it to fire. But yeah, it's the variant 3 with no safety, just a decocker. Decocker meaning if you're firing in single action mode, to go into a safer mode, you just push down on this little tab, decocks the pistol, and the round won't go off. A couple things I guess you could say I don't like about it. The thing I don't like about it the most is the rail. HK is the proprietary rail. Obviously, they fixed that on their newer models. But this gun's still in production, it's still out there. So if you want to put a light on there, or a laser, or any kind of a standard accessory, you have to buy a converter for it. They're out there, it's doable. It's just something to think about. The other thing I don't like about it is the gun's a large gun. It's definitely a duty gun. But if you look, the magazine capacity is only 15 rounds. Back when the gun came around in the early 90s, that was relatively standard. But nowadays, with a lot of the high cap 9s out there that are similarly sized, it's kind of a disadvantage for the gun. Just something to think about. A couple things I do like about it. I really like the grip here. The grip is it gives you a very sure grip. It's kind of like a pebbly surface. The front has like a checkering and serrations on there, you guys can see. And it gives you a very positive grip of the gun. I like the decocker, like I said, I like the oversized slide release. So if you're changing mags, it's very easy to actuate and decock. I actually like the mag release where it is. A lot of people don't. I have large hands though, and I'm able to hit it very easily. So it's not really an issue for me, but if you have small hands, it's something to think about. It's obviously an ambidextrous mag release as well. But we'll do some quick size comparisons here for it. Here's a Glock 19, kind of the standard. It's a 15 round Glock pistols, as you can see there. The H&K is substantially larger, just about every dimension. It's just, it's like I said, the full size is kind of a duty gun. The USP will be reviewed one of these days. We'll get into that later. I had the compact, the USB compact, I should say. Had some interesting things happen with that when I've been testing it, but that's another video. So another 15 round 9mm. Glock's a little bit smaller all the way around. As a full-size duty gun, something that maybe you'd want to compare it with would be like a full-size 1911. Just take a look at the size differences there of the guns. Obviously I have the 10 round mag in there. Obviously it's a different caliber, I know that. I'm just saying full-size duty guns, they're very similar in size. The 1911 is a little bit longer in the grip, but lengthwise they're very similar. And obviously 1911 is going to be slimmer as well, but it's a single stack gun. Getting to a couple of the standard talking points that we like to do out here in the review, just to keep me on track. Cost. H&Ks are expensive guns, there's no getting around it. The USPs are a little less than some of their other guns, but we're still talking, generally speaking, over $700 for one of these pistols, and that's a lot. Reliability, cannot knock it there. Gun's been 100% reliable in my use. It's well built, everything about it really screams quality. Accuracy, it's extremely accurate gun. This gun's easy to shoot well, especially in single action mode. The single action trigger is pretty good. Moving on to trigger, we'll do a quick test here that we usually do with the trigger gauge, but standard trigger, my guess is it's going to be somewhere around 9 to 10 pounds in double action, and sure enough it was. I'll zoom in for you guys so you guys can see it there. Oh, where did I go? There you go, right before 10 pounds is where it broke. In single action, that one I really don't know, I'm guessing 4 or 5. And between 4 and 5, there you go. But one thing about the trigger is in double action, I find the trigger to be somewhat spongy. It's not bad, it's not something you can't manage, but it's not as crisp on the break as like a SIG or an FNP in my opinion. You can almost hear it actually at the end. It's not as crisp, it's somewhat spongy. Single action doesn't seem to have that problem. Weight, again, I don't know the weight, I'll look it up guys, but I'll annotate it in the bottom of the video, and capacity is 15 rounds that we already went over. Up next guys will be the chronograph like always with some popular duty loads, but if you have any questions feel free to let me know. Alright, thanks. Next up is the chronograph test. We're going to be firing two rounds of each load. I'll zoom in there for you, make sure you guys can see it first. We're going to start top to bottom. So first up will be the Hornady 147 grain, followed by the Winchester Rangers, then the HSTs and the gold dots. Again, the actual chrono numbers will be posted at the link at the bottom of the video here. First up. And that's it.